Japan is famous for streets that feel almost impossibly clean. But there is something visitors notice very quickly. Where are all the trash cans? In many cities around the world, public bins are part of the street. In Japan, you can walk for 20 minutes with an empty bottle in your hand and still not find one. So how can a country have fewer public trash cans, yet so little visible litter? The simple answer is not one law, one custom, or one historical event. It is a system of habits, expectations, and waste rules that work together. And the story begins with a major change in public safety. After the 1995 Tokyo subway sarin attack, security became a much bigger concern in busy public spaces. Many trash cans were removed from stations and other crowded locations, or replaced with more visible designs. This is often presented as the entire explanation. But it is only part of the story. Even before and after that event, Japan's waste system was built mainly around homes, businesses, and designated collection points, rather than a public bin on every corner. When people buy a drink from a vending machine, they may find a recycling container nearby. At a convenience store, there may be bins for customers, although access varies by location. Train stations, shopping centers, parks, and tourist areas may also provide them. But the basic expectation is simple. If there is no suitable bin, keep your trash until you find one or take it home. For many visitors, that sounds inconvenient. And honestly, sometimes it is. But in Japan, carrying a wrapper or empty bottle for a while is treated less like a special act and more like personal responsibility. There is also an important difference between a trash can and a recycling container. The openings beside vending machines are generally meant for beverage containers, such as cans and plastic bottles. They are not a place for food waste, shopping bags, or anything else that happens to fit. This is where sorting becomes important. Waste rules in Japan are usually decided by local municipalities, so the categories and collection days can change from one city to another. At home, residents may separate burnable waste, cans, glass bottles, plastic bottles, paper, and other materials. The details can be surprisingly strict. A plastic bottle may need to be emptied, with the cap and label separated according to local instructions. Once you are used to sorting waste at home, throwing everything into one public container feels less natural. Cleanliness is also learned in shared spaces. In many Japanese schools, students take part in daily cleaning. They sweep classrooms, wipe floors, and help care for areas that everyone uses. This does not mean every school works in exactly the same way or that professional cleaners do not exist. The larger lesson is that cleaning is not always treated as somebody else's invisible job. The same idea appears in neighborhoods and workplaces. Residents, shop owners, and volunteers sometimes clean the streets around their buildings or take part in local cleanup events. At festivals, sports events, and public gatherings, you may see people collecting their own rubbish or sorting it at designated stations. None of this means Japan is perfectly clean. Busy nightlife districts can have litter. Tourist hotspots sometimes struggle with overflowing waste. Local governments have introduced anti-littering rules, smoking restrictions, and campaigns because problems do happen. Japan also produces a large amount of packaging, and much municipal waste is incinerated. A clean-looking street does not automatically mean a perfect environmental system. That distinction matters. What Japan does especially well is make the person holding the trash responsible for it until it reaches the correct place. The street is treated as shared space, and leaving something behind creates work for another person. So what should you do when traveling in Japan? First, carry a small reusable bag. It takes almost no space and solves the problem immediately. Second, keep food waste separate from clean bottles and cans. Third, use bins only when they are clearly intended for public or customer use. Do not leave rubbish beside a full bin. Fourth, if you buy food at a convenience store or market, ask politely whether the packaging can be disposed of there. And finally, do not assume every container beside a vending machine accepts general trash. Japan's clean streets are not the result of having no waste. They are the result of millions of small decisions about where that waste goes, who is responsible for it, and how shared places should be treated. The missing trash cans are what visitors notice. The habit of taking responsibility is what keeps the system working. Could the same idea work where you live? Tell us in the comments and subscribe to Japan, actually, for more surprising details hiding in everyday Japan.